Hello, everybody. The name of the channel is Appeal to Reason. You can find it on YouTube and on Rumble. So Donald Trump has wasted no time getting down to business, signing 200 executive orders on his first day in office. I wanted to highlight what I feel like are some of the boldest of those and some of those that I feel like no other American president in history ever would have wanted to touch with a 10-foot pole. So let's go ahead and go to the article from Axios, and let's dive into what those are. So, just going to start out with and scroll down to the first one that I wanted to cover, which is birthright citizenship. That executive order on that, where so it says here. One of his boldest moves was an attempt to end birthright citizenship for those born to undocumented immigrants. Birthright citizenship is protected by the U.S. Constitution and already faces legal challenges. So this has been a problem for a long time. Birthright citizenship should have been done away with 100 or so years ago. It's very outdated, doesn't really fit with current times. I don't think there is another country out there that offers birthright citizenship to people. It's been exploited and misused by immigrants horribly, and either legal immigrants or undocumented immigrants. People will come here in extreme circumstances. I've heard stories about, though they could be from anywhere, but specifically what I've heard about is wealthy Chinese couples. They will even hire a surrogate to come and bring their baby in, the surrogate's womb, and then give birth to that child in the United States, so that that child has birthright citizenship, could be a dual citizen to the U.S. and to China. So when that child gets older, they can, go to the university in America or easily come and work in the United States, and even potentially help bring the parents over to the U.S. eventually. So this is something that is very outdated, needs to be dealt with. I don't know how this one is going to play out, because it is a constitutionally protected birthright citizenship is. So you would need a constitutional amendment for this. So was it 3/4 of the states to do that, or is it two-thirds of the states? I think it's 3/4 of the states. That's going to be challenging. Obviously, you can't just decree a constitutional amendment like Joe Biden tried to do his last days in office. So, yeah, that's a very bold one, and obviously something that needs to be addressed. I'm glad that someone's actually trying to take on the issue, at least in some way, finally. But we'll see how this one plays out. Later on in the article, it goes on to highlight another executive order that I wanted to discuss here. In a separate order dated Wednesday, Trump ordered all executive departments and agencies to terminate what is called discriminatory and illegal preferences, policies, programs, guidance, and other provisions, and combat illegal private sector DEI preferences, mandates, policies, programs, and activities. In doing so, he revoked decades of executive orders, including the Equal Employment Opportunity Order of 1965, signed by former President Lyndon B. Johnson. So, if you're not familiar with this, equal opportunity is exactly the opposite of what it says it is. It is making these universities and government agencies hire, basically, you will get discriminated against if you are not, the right gender or the right race. They're trying to meet quotas, basically, for this. And this is doing away with all this DEI nonsense that we've seen in the recent years. And, this is something that, universities they'll actually, get from their general fund. If a department hires, say, a woman for a position of leadership in that department will get actually extra money from the general fund of the university. So, people are out there getting discriminated against. And I think I think Yale got sued a couple of years ago. It was like a class action lawsuit because all the Asian students were like, hey, you guys are, discriminating against us. If you just accepted Asian students, Yale would be like 50% Asian students, and then the other races would make up the other 50%. So yeah, this is something that needs to be done, and everyone is definitely scared of touching this issue with, how much race has been a hot topic in recent years, and all the woke nonsense that has been coming out of universities. So this is super important. We're getting back to merit-based society, which is something we desperately need. And, I feel like the common theme of these executive orders is a return to common sense, which is a very refreshing after the clown show that we've seen the past 4 years, where people that were completely unqualified, completely incompetent for those positions were put in those positions based on, their gender, or, if they were non-binary or whatever, they were all put into these positions that they clearly were not competent enough to hold. And we saw it, firsthand over the past 4 years. And that's why they lost, they lost the presidency, because they were so incompetent and they ran the country into the ground for 4 years. So as you can see here later in the article, it mentions that he has pulled us out of the World Health Organization, which was definitely very important to do. We saw with COVID how inept and incompetent they were, and that the World Health Organization was basically just a puppet of China. So we need to get it out of that. We've seen with these international coalitions and these international agencies that they're completely corrupt beyond reconciliation, and they don't get anything done. We pay a lion's share of the cost, and then we get treated horribly by them. And, it's time for us to say sayonara. Like, do the same thing with the UN too. They've had so many scandals of corruption and everything over the past several years, and we just saw firsthand with Israel the area in Lebanon that they were supposed to be occupying and protecting Israel from Hezbollah. Hezbollah was right underneath their noses. And also, in the Gaza Strip, it was the same thing with Hamas. Hamas was building tunnels right underneath, UN centers, and the UN acted like they didn't know. I don't know how you don't know. It had to be that they knew, and they just were ignoring it. But whatever, let it happen. So yeah, we've been treated very unfairly by these organizations. Time to take that piece of land and that building back in New York City that belongs to the UN, take it back, make it a part of the United States again, and, put luxury apartments in there. Anything would be better than what it's being used for now. If they want to have the UN somewhere else, have fun with that. But, we're the United States. We don't need y'all. We're better off without you, and without all of our tax dollars going there to prop up your worthless organization. Another thing that I would love to see, just on my personal wish list, that I'd love to see come out of the Trump administration very soon, is the elimination of the Department of Education. Send it back to the states, let the states run their own education. We know that having things brought down to as local as possible is going to have way more efficiency and way better outcomes for anything that you can think of. We've seen all of our money just basically been shoveled into a hole for the education, and we've seen little to no benefits for all this money that we're spending. So something needs to be done there. I would personally love to see the taxes on overtime removed, as he has promised to do. So can't wait to hear, more on that in the coming days. And then also something else that no politician wants to touch. I haven't heard Trump talk about this at all, but I really want it to happen, is opting in or out of Social Security. I just don't want to put any more of my money there. I know it's not going to be around for me as a 35-year-old guy. It's going to be completely bankrupt by the time I'm ready to use it. I could make way more money investing that money myself, or, investing in real estate, whatever. Anything would be better than, the Social Security, black hole that my money just disappears in, from every paycheck. I would love to hear from you guys what you think would be a great executive order to come out in the next coming days that would get you super excited and pumped. If you enjoyed this video, please go ahead and smash that like button and share this video with your friends and subscribe to my channel. Thank you for your time and attention.